twice.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Caucus Meeting of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs Mayor and Council. Today is Wednesday, July 12th, 2017, at 6:35 p.m. Can I have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Pranjak,
Here.
Councilpersons Aversa, E. Park,
Here.
O.
Here.
McMorrow,
Here.
M. Park,
Here.
Wu,
Here.
Borough Attorney,
Present.
Superintendent of DPW,
Here.
Borough Engineer,
Here.
and Clerk. We're present, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Would you please also read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Okay, thanks. So, prior to introducing our Borough Engineer, Andy Hippolyte, Councilwoman McMorrow, you asked for a moment.
I just have a couple of questions. Well, Andy's here anyway, but do we know if Councilman Aversa coming? Only because Andy's going to make the presentation. I hate to
I don't know.
do it twice. Does anybody know?
He did not say he was not.
Well, he won't have to do it twice. Whoever's here is here.
Okay.
Right, there's a video.
No, I was just asking if maybe for, you know.
You guys know?
Okay.
No, okay.
No, you're going to come in 5 minutes and switch the order around. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Andy, first of all, thank you for coming. I just had a, since Andy is here, Mayor, I just wanted to go over a couple of questions that I had about the B3 zone.
Sure.
I mean, we might as well utilize his services.
He is our engineer.
Sorry, Andy, you're here.
That's fine, go ahead. I understand that there's some misinformation floating around.
Well, I have some questions. I'm hoping that Councilwoman Owens can help me. Councilman Versa's not here. I'd ask him as well. There appears to be, from what I'm hearing, some misinformation going around the town. I could be wrong. You could help me with that, because apparently there's a group that's led by Ms. Geiger and Ms. Savary, and I think it's great that people are getting together and talking about issues and what they feel is important to the town. But I understand that yourself and Councilman Aversa are attending these meetings, and I'm wondering, while you're in attendance of these meetings, are there anything that you're hearing at these meetings that, as a council, we should know about? Things that we could improve on the subject of the D3? Things that you're hearing that are complaints that residents are
You know
hearing?
what, I'm sure, Council President, I'm sure when you open to the public later, I'm sure some of those members are here
No,
today,
but
and
no,
they
hold
can
on.
speak for themselves.
I'm asking you. You're
Don't put me on the spot.
No, I'm going to. I most certainly am, because you're
Why?
attending, if you may respectfully, I'm going to, because see, as elected officials, we have fiduciary duties to do what's best for the residents of this town.
Okay,
And,
the name of the
excuse me.
group, by the way, is EC Concerned Citizens, and I'm very concerned about our town.
Well, so
I
am I.
have a right
Can
to...
I just
But don't
interject?
interrupt me.
Let's just back up a step.
Yeah, okay.
We are, for the members of the public, we are talking about the south part of town on 9W, where there's several buildings that are boarded up, and there's basic blight, okay? And I think everyone at this table, at a prior meeting, and I think the public also, by and large, agreed that those conditions cannot continue for another 25 years, as they have been for the last 25 years since I've been in town. So that was our starting point in the discussion, was we were trying to figure out what to do with it.
Exactly.
And everything was on the table, except there'd be no eminent domain,
No eminent
and
domain,
there'd be no redevelopment.
and obviously no high-rises.
And no high-rises.
That goes without...
We agree
but,
on that.
Mayor, if I may respectfully, when I'm getting residents calling me with concerns of information that's coming out of this meeting, and Councilwoman O is there, and Councilman Aversa is there, if my question is to you as an elected official, if you're hearing something that could help us as a council, that could help our residents either clear up any misconceptions, what their concerns are. We're a team here, and we're supposed to be all working together for the best interests of the residents, not to fearmonger misinformations to the public to create confusion. So that being said,
Are you
respect
accusing
to...
me of creating confusion?
No, stay focused.
Stay focused, play the tape
This is
back.
the right,
No, it
meeting to
absolutely
discuss
is,
that.
because
Well,
we're
let me-
here to do something really
Where
good.
is it on the agenda that you're bringing this up?
I can
Well,
have
this is
everything I
caucus.
want to.
This is a
caucus.
casual-
I understand that.
Hold on, let me explain the way caucus works. Caucus works as, we sit at a table,
work session,
and we,
I understand
right, it's a work
that.
session. We talk, we discuss our
Andy's
issues,
here. I
because,
thought he was staying
because
till
quite
regular,
frankly,
actually.
Karen Geiger didn't invite me to her meeting on Monday, and this is actually the governing body of the town, not some shadow government that meets at, Cafe Italiano or wherever they meet. This is actually the government, and you're part of the government.
Right.
So one member of our government, Carol McMorrow, who's our council president, is asking you, as a 7-8-year council member, what are your views on the south part of
That's not what
town?
her views, no, not...
Well, that too.
Is she hearing, what is she hearing?
so what are you
that is her
hearing?
concerns for
Why
us?
do I need to talk about what is taking place?
Because if you have knowledge, that residents are saying to you about their concerns, we have our bearer...
I'll back up a step. Let me back up a
And
step.
I wanna help.
Just to remind everyone at this table, including you, we owe a fiduciary duty to the town,
Absolutely.
not to our political parties.
That's correct.
That's just the stuff that happens outside of here. But when we're here, we have to talk to each other about what's best for the borough. Not what's best for Karen and her little group over there, because they always have a cause.
But Mayor,
But we want to actually hear what are the
what the
concerns.
residents, right, what are the residents saying? Because I'm concerned to hear what they want to hear.
I'm a resident, I have a concern.
Sure,
Are you there,
yeah,
Amanda?
because Andy's here now.
Well, that's nothing, I mean, there were 2 studies before, right? You're aware of that. Did you read the report?
I got copies of those.
Okay.
Well,
And so-
there was only one that I'm aware of.
What is it different now prior to those 2 other studies in the past? Like, what is it that you're proposing to do
Well, we're
that you
not...
couldn't do twice before?
Well,
Hold on,
first of all, we've been in office for 18 months, and the people who were in office for 25 years
No,
before
that's the
us,
first-
they did nothing.
Mayor,
So we're doing something now.
But my
I don't know the
question
first
is-
one, I only know of one. I only know of the one that was in 2012. I was on the board with Councilwoman O, so I'm aware of that one.
I can answer.
He can answer it, I want you to answer it, because I don't have, all those.
So under previous administrations, under 2 different studies, previous administrations did the same thing. They said, listen, we got a problem on the south side of town, the B3 zoning district. It's not getting redeveloped. The property owners that exist there are doing nothing. So they hired a planner, they looked at the B3 zone, and they made recommendations. As part of our study, we did the same thing, and their recommendations went from everything from redevelopment, almost blighting it or condemning it, to area needed rehabilitation. When we looked at those studies and looked at it ourselves, we said the best way to move forward is an area needed rehabilitation. The reason being is redevelopment can be very aggressive and actually take property. Blighting could be very aggressive and actually take property, and that was kind of more the first study. The second study that was done in our study said an area needed rehab allows this body, the council sitting here together, to declare it an area in need of rehabilitation, which is very simple. All you have to prove is, by state law, is that your water and sewer is 50 years or older and need repair. So if water or sewer is 50 years or older, it's in need of repair just by its age, because it's failing and it's going to be a problem. Once you prove that, and once your planning board proves it, and then you come here and you recertify or ratify that, then it allows you to actually create overlay zoning.
Right.
It doesn't condemn property, doesn't change heights and zones if you don't want to, it doesn't change footprints or coverage if you don't want to.
Training that area as a rehabilitation zone.
It's actually a good thing, though, but the state enacted the area needed rehabilitation to allow municipalities, a lot of them have done it, to actually create zoning to get it redeveloped so it doesn't look like what it looks. Two other,
To the property values of all those people that have businesses there now.
it would go up significantly.
It's gonna go up significantly.
Up significantly.
Oh my God, it's gonna go up significantly.
Well, here's what I said at the last meeting.
If they're trying to sell the business, they're telling me, and it's zoned for a rehab area, that it would go up.
Well, let me deal with it. Hold on, let me deal with this, because I've done it multiple times.
So let's just say hypothetically, I'm a buyer, potential buyer, right? And there's a potential seller, a business, right, in that area. And I get a title report and it shows that that area, right, is now there's no branding or listing or registration that is...
No, I need to deal with this, because this is an issue that's happened many
That's the
times.
fear-mongering that goes on.
Right, so what happens is,
Fear-mongering.
an area in need of rehab specifically goes to only the water and sewer issue. If you have a property now exists B3 and it allows all kinds of different uses, when it comes back to you as an area in need of rehab, you then could create additional zoning, or what we call overlay zoning. So now the property has its original zoning, which it's allowed to build by, and a secondary zoning. So the value of the property, this has happened statewide in numerous municipalities, skyrockets. And that's why people want to, and that's why people want to rebuild it. It creates redevelopment. Right now, the property, I mean, it's terrible. What's down there now is horrendous. Nobody wants to buy it because they can't build on it. The zoning doesn't allow redevelopment.
Okay, our job as a government is to create an environment for people to maximize the value of their property, to maximize the beauty of our town, and the utility of the functionality of those properties. And right now, we don't believe that's happening, obviously, because there are boarded-up buildings there, okay? So we're open to suggestions. One of the main ideas here is to rehabilitate.
Right, and there's no title restrictions, there's no deed search. What happens is your zoning ordinance will be amended to allow other things to be built there, or better things to be built there, plus the original zoning. So it gives them like a double benefit.
And then the economic reality of that is that we are creating the environment for this to happen. We're not doing it. The property owners will do it themselves.
Right, they do it themselves.
If they want to. If they don't want to,
They'll stay the same.
leave it the same way, and we'll continue issuing property maintenance letters to them and fines.
If you look at the places who have done this, the municipalities in New Jersey that have done it,
Places, I'll look it up.
I will, if you want them, I'll get you some. But if you look at the places that have done it, there are areas that boomed. Like boomed, I think one of the biggest areas you probably can look at is Red Bank. Red Bank did it. Red Bank did both redevelopment and rehab. But if you look at areas that have done it, the property values have skyrocketed, and the redevelopment has come in. The property owners themselves have redeveloped it. The town didn't take the redevelopment on.
Back to the council for everybody's
You have to.
opinion.
You guys have to come up with an ordinance.
They're coming back, when they get to that next part, they're coming back to us for all of our feedback. So
Yeah.
Great, so we're asking questions.
So
We're
we
on a call.
should.
That's what I'm doing.
I heard these rumors going around. I'm addressing it. I heard that Councilwoman Allen and Councilman Aversa were there. And that's why I'm saying, I'm reminding them that they have a fiduciary responsibility. If they're hearing concerns of residents, that they need to bring it back to us so we can help the residents understand.
So if you were a business owner, and you currently are in the B3 zone, the only thing you could build there without getting a use variance or some type of variance is what's currently there. This is going to allow you to have still that option yourself, because you're in charge of your own property, and something else. So it's giving you another option. So you have multiple options. So, for a property owner, it gives them a really great option to rebuild or redevelop their property under their guidelines, under their dollar, under their money, has nothing to do with you.
So could you please get that for the Councilwoman?
Okay, I'll get there's a number of them. There's a lot of them.
Councilwoman Owen, Councilman Aversa, because...
I'll give you, I don't know, I mean, I'd never want to compare Angle Cliffs to Hoboken, but if you go back to Hoboken back 20 years ago, because I was there, you wouldn't walk most streets back then. If you look at Hoboken 20 years later, Hoboken declared the entire city an area in need of rehab, and now the average square foot price for an apartment on the waterfront is about $1,000 a square foot. It's unbelievable what it's done to that city. It was so successful, they went back in and re-overlaid more rehabilitation zones over their existing rehabilitation zones, and their values skyrocketed. It's unbelievable what's done in that city in the last 10 years.
Thank you for that.
Mayor, I just want to address that Councilman Aversa arrived at 6:45.
Thank you.
And you don't get off so easily, because Gloria was asked a question. We'll ask you also, Councilwoman McMorrow asked Councilwoman O, what are you hearing about the B3 zone? There was a meeting on Monday. We understand you were there. Do you want to share anything? If you don't want to share anything, that's fine too. It's up to you.
About what residents are saying concerns are of, apparently there's a lot of conversation going on. And I'm hearing fear-mongering is what I'm hearing from residents that have contacted me.
Something to say, because I wasn't there. I was there late.
Oh, so they were there. Okay, no problem. So anyway, Andy, if you could just get that stuff
I wasn't
out.
invited.
But just to be clear, the zoning options increase the ability to develop, but it's up solely to the property owners and there is no recording of any kind with respect to area in need of rehabilitation.
And according to Annie, it increases their value.
Right, you have, with options increase value.
So I have one question, I'm sorry to cut you off. So, you, Council President, asked me a question before about what I'm hearing, about this zone. And this is like the first time that we're officially talking about this. So,
Oh, we had the other meeting when he was here. Sometimes.
Two times,
Yeah.
that was
So,
official.
this is the third
not
time.
about the rehab, like...
Well, we
you know,
thought that it needs improvement.
No, that I understand,
Yes,
but
yeah.
like, this whole idea of like rehab...
The other meeting, last
Right,
month, yeah.
so I'm just curious, like, well, how is it that it's my first time hearing about this, new zoning idea? And...
It was my first time, too.
You seem like you already know a lot about this, and...
Well, no, I gotta answer this one with her. Hold on, excuse me. I gotta tell you, I'm shocked to hear you say that, because I sat right next to you at the table when Mayor Joe Parisi handed us all those packets for looking to, he called it something else, but it's still a rehab, Gloria. It's the same thing. Mr. Hippolyte used a different word that I'd never heard of before. That's why we have professionals.
No, I understand
But-
that, but I'm not doubting the fact that it was, the study was done previously, and, there should be something done about that whole
Right.
area, but it just seems to me that you know a lot more about...
I don't know anymore.
designating this area
Absolutely.
as a rehab zone, opposed to...
Absolutely not.
Me, this is the first time I'm hearing...
Well, let me
No,
actually,
but
let me
that's not-
refresh,
that-
let me
that's not
refresh your
true. I
memories.
heard it just like you did.
Let me refresh your memories. At the last regular meeting of council, in June,
Yeah.
our planning board chairman, Russ Perino, who's sitting back there, very eloquently and concisely, together with Andy, discussed what we're
Yes.
discussing tonight.
I'd never heard of a rehabilitation.
And there were different things thrown out, and rehabilitation was one of them, and it seemed like that's probably the one that would fit best, given our situation, and given our desire not to ever invoke eminent domain or force anyone to do anything with their property. I believe that people should just have the right environment to do what they want with their property. And right now, that environment doesn't exist. What I anticipate we'll do, as we've done with other major projects since I've been mayor, is we will have one or two, maybe more, public meetings,
Of course, we have
sessions,
to.
where we want the public to come in,
And give their ideas.
come officially here and do it, and not, at some other place with misinformation, which seems to happen often. Last month, it was, we're cutting down all the trees at the park that were bought as tributes. This month, it's something different. So, come here to the meeting, tell your friends, we're going to advertise it, of course, and publicize it, and we want to give viewpoints. It's what the public wants, not what I want. I just want to fix what's the problem.
We want to hear what all the council people have to say, and if they hear something out there that's going to be productive, bring it back to the council, and then, we can...
And just to remind you
Work
what we
together.
discussed last month as well, the process is, we did enter a resolution last month authorizing the planning board to consider whatever options up to and including an area in need of rehabilitation, not redevelopment.
Oh, yeah.
And so it starts with the planning board, but anything that officially has to be done comes back to us. So there's going to be meetings with them and meetings with us.
Thank you for the...
We're going to have a lot of meetings. Yeah. Thank you.
A lot of meetings.
So
Now we
let's
can
talk about
start
Whitty Field.
on Whitty Field.
So,
Andy
Andy Hippolyte,
Parker.
who we've already met, is working with us to renovate Whitty Field. We had some options before. We had a council meeting, we had a public session. We gave Andy some more homework. He's done it since the last meeting. I think we have some viable options now within our budget. Thank you for
Can I
coming.
ask another question?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we only had $1 million, enough to bond for $1 million. Why were we here 6 times, and Andy was here twice before talking about a $3 or $4 million possibility? I mean...
That's our job, is to look at all the options.
I know, but-
You have to know what the whole project, when you're building a house, you're not going to look at what your kitchen costs only, you're going to look at the whole house cost,
Yeah,
and
but
then you
if you
go
could
over
only
the other...
afford $1 million, then...
I may be able to question. So what had happened was, Councilman McMorro, the Recreation Chair, and the Recreation Committee had brought me in a while ago, and they really looked at the park, or they wanted us to look at the park as a whole. They said there's limited money, but if you make an improvement to the park and don't plan it, what'll happen is you'll make an improvement and you'll be where you are 10 years later. 10 years ago, They didn't necessarily plan it that well, and I was here. That was part of that, so I don't want to hide from that. They didn't necessarily plan it very well, and the idea was to say, listen, let's move it forward, going right forward. So let's plan the bigger project and then phase it into our budget as you guys see necessary. That's why you guys are here. And that was the idea
I
behind it.
feel like we're working backwards, but
Okay, what I'll tell you is you have in front of you two things. You have some color drawings, you have some estimates. So the color drawings are labeled concept 5, 6, 7, and 8. The estimates have the same label match.
Where's the numbers here?
They're right here. And on the estimate, you look in the big box, you'll see concept 5, 6, 7, 8. So originally what had happened was we were hired to do a study to look at the park to improve it as a whole, to look at a long-term plan,
Right.
do it as a whole, come up with estimates, which we did. That's these concepts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I just brought that out just so we could baseline that. And then we came back, we said, okay, this year's budget, we only put $1 million in, so how could we build onto the concepts 1, 2, 3, or 4, and what could we do? So what we did was, we looked at 4 concepts. We called them concepts 5, 6, and 7, and 8. And concepts 5, 6, and 7, and 8 are geared towards the original. As I had spoken, option 2 is probably my favorite option of all the options. Option 4 is probably second favorite. So these 5 concepts kind of eliminate option 1 and 2, and kind of hone you down to a long-term option 1, 2, or 4 as your long-term plan. So inside that, with your $1 million, we came up with 4 options. So the first option was to go onto the softball field, or the field farthest closest to CNBC, and create a synthetic turf softball field using an organic infill, not a rubber infill. Inside that synthetic field, put in a smaller side soccer field where you can play 7v7 soccer, which is 7 on 7. It's concept 5.
That's fine.
And then on the rest of the park, inside the fence line, the existing areas would be the sod would be removed, it'd be resodded, and the clay infields would be...
Hold on, wait, it's 6. That's where I'm lost, I don't have my...
I'm sorry, I picked the wrong one, I'm sorry.
I
I
can't.
had them out of order, I'm sorry. Yep, I'm sorry, I got concept 5, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
Wait, let me get...
I apologize.
The first one is 5.
So concept 5 was the Little League field. So the concept 5 is taking the existing Little League field closest to the snack shack, to take the entire area inside the fence and create a synthetic turf field. That synthetic turf field would be infilled with organic material, and would have a smaller sided field to play 7v7 or 5v5 soccer. The remainder of the complex would be stripped of its existing grass, resodded, and the clay infields would be rebuilt. Concept 6, which I started to talk about, was the softball field. So you would take the softball field, create a synthetic turf field inside there, same organic infield, a smaller sided soccer field on the turf, maintaining the larger soccer field on the grass, and the rest of the complex would be stripped of its sod, regrassed, and the infields would be rebuilt.
Andy, when you mention organic infill, you're referring to the cork?
There's a couple of kinds out there now, so we have to...
Anything
yeah.
other than...
It's anything other than rubber. It's a organic or renewable product.
Okay.
Concept 7 is kind of a hybrid of the first 2. It's going on to both the Little League field and the softball field and reconstructing just the infields with synthetic turf. The outfield and the rest of the complex would be stripped of its sod, resodded. It would maintain the larger soccer field in the outfield and the 90-foot baseball field, and we'd rebuild the infields. I did bring a picture that you probably don't remember from last meeting. If you look at the top left picture on here, so the top left picture, this one right here, if you look at the top left picture on this photo, that's an example of what I'm proposing in concept 7. So in the borough of New Providence, we had a complex similar with a softball and baseball field. The infields were done in synthetic turf. The outfields was maintained grass. That allowed the town to reduce their maintenance significantly, so the infields were always playable. And usually the grass outfield, in most rainstorms, is playable. It's the clay infield's the problem. So that's a picture of it, if you want to see a picture of it. And then the last concept, which is an obvious option, is option 8, which is just to strip the entire complex of its existing grass, put new grass back, and reconstruct the 3 infields. So that's the 4 concepts. On the 4 concepts, we'll go...
you don't have to form with lights, though.
We do, so that's why, we have here, we're gonna get that, so in your estimates, so in the estimates, which we're going to next.
Only one question.
Yeah.
All these concepts, I'm assuming,
Or the addition to.
include digging up and redoing the infrastructure of the drainage, which is our biggest issue.
So where needed, so when we looked at your field, and I think I said last time, your drainage below the field is actually in really good shape. The problem is your field has been so overused, your use is so high, your field is so overused, your soil in your upper 6 inches is compacted and or worn out to no good, and it won't let the drainage work, so it stops it. So it retains, when you go out there, you see standing water on the field, it's because the water can't get to the drainage. The sand mix in silt and clay sand mix is gone, and the field, as I said before, you can't keep up with the maintenance on a grass field. You either, if you use concept 8, you either have to reduce your use, or budget another $1 million for 5 or 6 years now, because you're redoing it again. You're gonna have to. It's not gonna survive. Your use outlasts grass.
Right. I think what the councilman is asking is, does it include fixing that compacted?
Right, so we're, I think as you said, we're gonna, under all the grass, wherever grass is being placed, we're removing the existing grass, removing the top 6 inches, throwing it away, and putting new soil and grass back. So the drainage will not work right.
Who's carting it away, taking it all?
He can't keep it, he can't keep it.
No, I know that, yeah.
So good.
Okay, the lights, which is...
So just to get you back to the estimates, so I have 4 estimates here. The first estimate was for concept 5. So let's go back to that. So the first estimate for concept 5, which is the first one in your package, if you look at that estimate, the baseline estimate for the synthetic turf field only is $705,000 as an estimate. If you were to add lights to that field, and there are 4 light poles shown on it, that would be an additional $462,000 for LED lights. If you went for the non-LED lights, the number would be pretty much cut in half. With both, you're a little over $1 million if you have lights in that concept, or if you go with the non-LED lights, you're under $1 million. And that's an option you can discuss. Number 6, which is the softball field. If you turn the page on your estimates, the next estimate. The turf area is larger because of the soccer field in the outfield. The turf in all the rest of the field is $817,000. With lights, you'd add, there's 4 light poles, that would be lighting the softball field, that add $462 under the LED scenario, and that's what the estimate shows. If you went to a non-LED scenario, you'd be half that, so you'd be just, in that scenario, you'd be actually a little bit over $1 million, so that's probably the least desirable, I guess. Under concept 7...
Which matches that picture that you showed us?
Yes, which matches, yes, which matches the picture I showed you, if you want, I can...
And where is that? That's New Providence, right?
That's Hillview Field, New Providence?
This one.
We actually wanted to work for that.
Oh, you did, that's the one you want? I looked at one, oh, that's it.
So concept 7, which is actually, I think is a pretty good option, it worked really well in New Providence, gives you 2 brand-new synthetic turf infields, fully striped, fully lined, great drainage on it, for a cost of $590,000. You could then put in LED lights on the softball field. Those LED lights would cost you $462, so you're under, basically right at or just under $1 million by the time you're done.
But that's LED only on the softball?
Only on the softball. You can put them on either field, doesn't matter. The 462 carries to either field, so you can put it on either field, doesn't matter. You can do Little League, or, it doesn't matter.
One field, you can't
There's
do...
one field for 4.
You can't do 2 fields for 462.
Gotta ask him, Joe,
No.
can you do 2, can you split it in half and do
Sure.
2 LED and 2 non-LED?
No.
Okay.
No, you need a consistency. So you could go, I don't want to tell you that the non-LED lights and metal halide lights are a bad option. I mean, they're an option that, anywhere you drive up and down the Palisades, other than the really older lights, they're non-LED lights. The LED are very new. The idea behind the LED lights, if you remember back when we came here a while ago, was they provide a really good cutoff. So an LED light, I can actually take a line at the end of this table and be 30-foot candles, 0. With the non-LED lights, it would be 30 on this side, 20, 10, 0. So it's close, it's a little bit, so it's,
So you gotta do one this year and then next year.
So that's the
Correct.
symbol for the lights, 4 lights.
Yeah, no, I see that,
See that?
I see that.
and then if you go to the last option, so this is the resodding and recreational of the infields. To do that, you're at $366,000. If you add lights to one field, you'd add $462, and you could pick the field you want under, so. You know, again, on this option, I want to be careful. Under this option, you're getting a resodding, regrading the field, a fixing of the drainage, fixing the infields, and you're back here again in a couple of years. So, well, you're probably sooner, because your use is horrendous. Your use in this grass field is so high that you're wearing your field out, and that's what it
What was
shows.
the old, I wrote it on everything.
It's 366, and then you have to add lights to it.
But back in 2 years, or 3.
You're probably, well, plus, you remember what I said last meeting, if you're gonna go to an all-grass option, you need to put in a real number for maintenance. So a real number would be on this field, this size, probably about $50,000 a year to maintain it.
Well,
And you need to shut it down at least twice a year.
Andy, I got a couple questions.
Go.
Option 7, the 2 fields there,
Option 7, hold on, let me get that, let me pull it up.
these softball fields can be used for Little League as well?
Yes, they're the same
2
size.
Little League games going on at the same time?
Correct.
Okay.
oh, wait,
And then,
oh, good question.
that's the
Is
first
the
question.
structural-
The second question is option 5. What's the reason you drew that small soccer field that's on the Little League field? That's just a matter of putting lines on the field, right?
Right, you can actually, it's synthetic turf, so you can inlay lines, so if somebody wanted to play, I'm getting caught up, if somebody wanted to play what we call a small-sided soccer, a quick touch game, you could actually have it done as a line, they don't have to touch it, just put the nets up.
Yeah, so your intention there was that would become like a primary field for the kids to play soccer? Because usually they have 2 games going on at the same time?
That would just be for little kids.
It'd be for little kids.
Just for the little
Well, it could be the 4v4 or 5v5 adults.
Bigger kids, but less kids, but
Yeah.
you gotta play like a league game, and it's little kids.
You know, we just done a number of synthetic turf soccer fields,
Yeah.
and many municipalities are getting away from this big field. They're actually lining it just for the small-sided games.
Got it.
77, 5v5, 77, and 9v9 is what they want lined.
So option 7, you have 4 lights showing on option 7.
Either side, whichever you want. You want to-
So those lights, you could have 2 lights. Maybe able to have both fields lit up, right? In option 7.
No, on option 7, there's 4 light poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, to light this entire
You
field.
can't do 2 and 2 either.
No, a baseball field, to have the proper lighting requires, or softball requires 4 light poles. And especially, you're gonna wanna keep your height down. So because you're gonna wanna keep your height down, you can't have less poles. If we were allowed to, and I'm not saying we're gonna do this, so unless I remember, if we were allowed to put 150-foot light poles here, which we never would do, you could have 2. So you can't do that here.
The softball field is not really synthetic turf, right? It's
It's
the edges
synthetic,
of that.
no, it will be all, in this scenario, it's all synthetic turf. So the reason I colored it differently is the dark brown and dark green is synthetic turf, the light green and tan is grass or clay.
This is synthetic,
This,
different colors.
this is turf too, even though
The
it's...
brown is...
Like the
brown
picture, you
and
should show
Like
it
this
as
picture.
well, like this, see this?
Got it.
See this?
See, on this picture,
Different.
the outline of the red
Yeah,
is where the grass starts.
okay.
You can't even tell the difference. You can walk it there, it's hard to tell the difference. It's how tiny it is.
Andy explained you can't mix the light and...
You
No,
can't.
I get that.
It's either all LED or all metal halide, or vice
I mean,
versa.
why do you have, I don't understand the difference when you have a girls softball field. Why do they have the green here like this on a boys softball field? See this here?
So your
It's this whole layout is different here.
baseball and softball are a little bit different.
Oh, they are, okay.
So under Little League rules, this is the layout.
Okay.
Under softball rules, this is the layout, but you can still play Little League games here. You just can't play you probably couldn't play your district games. So if you're Little League and you go to district finals, this layout necessarily might not work. This layout definitely works.
So my question is, can the girls, if
Yes.
girls play on that?
Yes.
Oh, then that's it,
It's
that's
all the
fine.
same, it's just different color. So in the softball
Well, I thought the
field...
layout's a little different.
No, that's him. That's him.
And no mound on girls' softball.
But the mounds on your turf are removable.
But the girls can play there, then what
Okay.
does it matter about as long as the one's got the light, the girls
Yeah.
can play there with the other, then that's fine, yeah.
The boys and girls,
I don't want the girls to get left out.
Infield,
the boys and girls play on both. The same size. The only
Right.
difference in the fields is the mound distance and whether there's a mound or
If the
not.
girls wanted to play a night game, because Rashard is really working to build up the girls' program, so can they play a night game?
Yes, so the synthetic turf field, both fields would come with a portable mound, Those mounds are movable. So if you were playing softball or t-ball, the mound would be moved off the field. If you wanted to be moved back on, and, 4 normal-sized people can lift one of those portable mounds.
And I just wanted, not to change the subject, but at 7 o'clock, our Little League, they made the district playoffs.
Wow, what age, 12?
Yeah, 10U.
10U?
And they are playing, they started at 7. They're playing Teaneck. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for them. And they'll let us know
That's
how they
awesome.
did. They're so excited, so that's why.
Championship game, right?
Championship game, sorry, yes.
Yeah, it has to be done tonight.
It has to be done
Yeah,
tonight.
it's all Little League.
They won, they're so excited, yeah, so that's really nice.
Our 10's lost, but their final games are our field tonight.
They will tonight,
Or
yeah, the
Shipley
final game,
versus,
so
Randall.
let's keep our fingers crossed. Sorry, just to... Okay, so I think we can go around the table and see, what everybody's, I like number 7. Oh, you know what? But I want to hear what everybody has to say, right? Because this is right up. But I think, can you let us know what is the percentage of the turf on each one?
Slow. So on
I want
concept 5,
Percentage of turf on the field and the percentage of the entire field.
well, so on,
You have that?
I don't have the percentage, but I can tell you the numbers. The
Oh,
numbers are
okay.
telling. So on concept 5, which is the first concept with Little League Field, 35,000 square feet synthetic turf, 130,000 square feet is grass,
35,000,
35 turf, 130,000 natural grass.
okay, grass.
On concept 6, 36,000 is the softball field, 36,000 is synthetic turf, 132,000 is natural grass. On concept 7, which is that concept, 19,500 is synthetic turf.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
The two of them together is 19, or each?
It's total. And,
Only around
and 155,000 is natural grass.
19.5?
Under the grass, 156,000 is natural grass. So it's low. They're very low numbers.
All right,
Okay.
let's go around the table. Gloria, what do you think?
I have a question for Andy. So which is the plant that that it was your favorite? Is it the second one?
Yeah, I can show you. Hold on. So if I go back to our original report we did, so we generated for you 4 future complex proposals. We had a 1, 2, 3, and 4. We had believed, or I had believed, that option 2 provided the most versatility for you, because of how you would potentially move things around. Whether you actually plan out and do all this, I don't know. But under all 4 of these concepts, they all fit into option 2 or option 4. So any work you do under any concept fits into those 2 options.
Overlay.
Yeah, from your potential parking, to moving the paths, to pavilions and bandstands, to dugouts, to shelters, to new tree planting, to drop-off areas, it all fits into these 2 options. So none of the work you do, you have to redo. They all build to that. If you decide to, as a council, year after year, you can eventually piecemeal and get to that option.
Build up, it's like a...
Right.
Build.
So 2 or 4 is your favorite to answer?
My favorite from the original plan was 4. Well, I mean, it was 2, excuse me. It was option 2. Not, under these concepts, my favorite is option 7, which is the one you look at there. Me personally, that's not my choice, but that's my favorite.
Well, I think option 7 is nice because you're using such minimal amount of turf. You're solving the problems of the Little League. They're getting lights. The girls and boys will be happy, and then the residents.
The soccer problem at all. There's no way to even do drills.
Yeah, but this is a one...
Well, that's not totally true. The soccer, so what happens, it'll take Hillview Field into Providence. Between these 2 fields, so I have a field posting and one in the back, between the 2 fields is a full-size soccer field. So what the soccer does is when the grass is under heavy wetness from rain and other things like snow, they do all their small touch drills in the 2 infields. So if you had 2 infields done, they could do all their small touch drills in practice. They put those littler nets up, and they could practice there until the field is dry enough to play on. Is it as big as the 77 or 99 field? It's not. Could you build towards that in the future? You could. Any turf is extendable, so it's all expandable. It's something you could build towards in the future if you wanted to as a council.
I agree, it's not solving the problem of missing games and
Nope.
things like that.
It is not.
And soccer season is relatively short because of, starts after Labor Day and ends before Thanksgiving.
Okay. No grass option is going to solve your soccer option.
5 and 6 address part of the soccer, which gets the kids playing. It's a little bit more broader in scope in terms of who's going to benefit from this, right?
Correct.
It's most good for the most people.
When you do your outfield, you're gonna get a little soccer field out there.
Right.
What about, the time, requirement to complete the downtime for...
So the downtime for the synthetic turf is very short. So if I construct a synthetic turf field or area, I'm up and running within 90 days. From the day it starts to the day you can go right on it. The downtime for grass, as I said, is pretty much 2 full growing seasons. So if you would start the project in November, you're not opening up the grass until probably the middle of the summer, if not the fall.
Can you just go through, like, plan by plan from one to, well, obviously 4 is all grass, but the other, the first
Yep,
3 options?
I can.
With the
I can, we'll start right in order. So we'll go concept 5.
Yeah.
If you were to put a contract out for this, let's say it started November 1st, we'll just use that as our baseline for everything. If I start concept 5 November 1st, in January, you're using the synthetic turf field. The rest of the complex is not going to open until the middle of the summer or the fall of 2018. Get stuck. Flips. Under option 6, the synthetic turf area in the softball field starts November 1st construction. You're open by January for full play. The rest of the complex, again, would open in the late summer or fall of 2018.
So basically, all the grass parts are going to be summer and fall, and all the synthetic is going to be January of 2000.
It'll be in 90 days. So the synthetic areas are open in 90 days, and the remainder of the project's open basically 8 to 12 months later. And that's based on weather and how the sod's taking and that kind of thing.
Andy, so if we did grass, so when was the last time we did this field? I know it wasn't something.
I don't know.
But it was 20...
I don't know. I wasn't...
99, so it's, almost 20 years ago. So again, theoretically speaking, if you did the infrastructure properly, and you redid the soil, redid the soil portion, the turf portion, natural turf, and put the money in to maintain it, what would lead us, even though we're still going to use it, because we've been using it for 20 years, and it's been okay, and like I said, it's great, but we also haven't maintained it properly for 20 years. So, what's to prevent us from thinking, or assuming, I hate assuming, because...
Don't say it. Don't say
What's to
it.
prevent us from thinking, or any of the residents from thinking that if we did all those things, infrastructure, replace the soil, put proper sodding, and then had a proper maintenance program, even with this vast use that we have, what would prevent us from thinking we'd get at least another 15 years now?
So I get a couple things. At least in my opinion, the field as it exists today is pretty much unsafe. I wouldn't I'm not your insurance carrier, but you have an unsafe field. You've had an unsafe field for some time.
2010.
I wasn't here, but it's kind of unsafe. Though you do play on it, and your DPW tries very hard to maintain it, but they don't have the budget nor the time to rest it. So I would just recommend, this is a professional recommendation, if you went with the all-grass option, I would recommend a few things. You have to commit to shut the field down for at least 2 out of 12 months a year. Shut it down to no play. Wherever you do that, in December and January aren't your months to shut down because you're not getting any benefits. So it's going to be like a March, April, or midsummer shutdown. You got to shut down and give it time to regenerate and be resodded.
During warmer months.
Right, more during growing seasons. And then the second part is you really need to budget about, or no less than $50,000 a year and spend it. So I love Mark. I think these guys do a phenomenal job. They're not field maintenance guys. You need to bring somebody in and hire somebody.
Thank you, that's the argument, right? Because if we do option...
We got an estimate of 80,000.
If we do the option with the two fields done in turf, that still leaves us 85% of the turf to maintain anyway. So we're still going to be spending, natural grass.
You got to maintain it right.
Yeah, so, you follow my
But you
logic?
just said it's not gonna last more than 2 years. We
No,
didn't
we're-
say leave it 15
So,
years.
again, let me follow you through,
Fielding the whole...
but let me follow you through, hold on.
But it's...
But you have to, hold on. You hear through the example. So, take the New Providence example. A big part of your maintenance is your infields. Because your infields can't sustain heavy rain, can't sustain the coaches going out and brushing the clay off into the grass, can't sustain improper maintenance. And it's expensive to maintain. Your biggest expense is here, your next biggest expense is here. So if you from a baseball perspective, if you truly did your infield, because we saw it happen here, the outfields in these fields can be maintained properly. The overlap, the hard part's the soccer. So the soccer is the hard part. That's a very aggressive use. Your lacrosses are very aggressive uses. The higher up they go, the more degradation you get here. Under these scenarios, this infield is always going to be a problem. We're going to replace it and grade it, but it's always going to be a problem. You got to be willing to shut it down. You could build into these projects long-term. If you started here, you could build into these projects where a turf spreads, but that's something you'd have to do long-term. Your maintenance will go down, but you're still going to be spending money.
Slowly.
I would tell you on this complex, once you take these out, it's probably $30,000 a year. I'd say it's got to be about that.
I got an estimate in 2010 of $80,000.
Yes.
Maintenance, with Boswell was with me, we brought the company in, we got an estimate of $80,000.
Hey, but you're still gonna have the soil compaction issues over there.
Well, you have that problem now, so that's going to happen.
It's still gonna happen anyway.
We're still
Absolutely.
gonna have it, so.
Yeah. You don't really have as bad of a soil compaction problem in the outfields of baseball fields. The infields is where you get the compaction problems, that's where the most play is. So you're gonna, this area here will probably be great, as long as you don't plan on we have 3 inches of rain, but
According to, I'm not an expert on Little League, but according to the ones that are, and Richard, who thought he was gonna be here tonight, but, the infields are the problems. If you can solve the infield issues, and if those are turf, they said that 80% of your-
I was up here 5 years ago, and the concern why we didn't move forward with it was because there was no organic infield at that time, and kind of poo-pooed that.
Yeah, well,
But that was the discussion.
you weren't here in 2010, I had the turf guy, I had them here in 2010, but right now, we're faced with some good options, personally, and because we've heard from so many residents about concerns with turf, and I understand that soccer is also something to look at. Start out with slowly, solve our problems with the 2 infields. We'll get lights, and we'll be able to solve.
Here's the concern though, if you just do the 2 infields, and
But he's
if the
doing all
grass
grass for the
takes
rest.
longer, right, for the downtime, how are they gonna play the games?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I was-
So Andy,
That's
like,
the concern.
yeah, you
They're out there.
mentioned that the infields, right, they'll be ready, if we start in November, they'll be ready in January.
You're ready for
But the grass, the outfields,
How they gonna
they're gonna
play
be longer, so
So baseline back to baseball versus soccer lacrosse. So soccer lacrosse is aggressive on the grass. I need more time for the turf to generate. So if I was to do, let's say, this option, and I redid this sod back here, sod will take within, if you do it in your house, 6 weeks. I mean, it takes 6 weeks, it's good to go, you can grow it. But the problem is, the more aggressive the play is, the faster it's going to degrade because the root zone didn't get to be its full 6-8 inches. If I did this November 1st, I'm not going to play on this field until spring, but it'll be ready to go in the spring, because for baseball, the outfield use is minimum. There's 3 people out there, or softball, maybe 4 people, and anywhere they're going to have to be very minimal. If I played soccer out here, I'd say shut down. This is a soccer field. So you're not going on this till next fall of 18, because soccer will destroy it. They'll rip up, there's their cleat and their kick rips pieces up, so you got to wait till it's ready for that play.
But the Little League will be ready.
Oh, yeah, no, be ready for play in the spring.
Little League.
So spring of 2017, right?
Field will, but...
No,
No, the outfield will be ready by the spring. For baseball, the outfield will be ready by the
make sure
spring.
they don't hit that far.
No, it's not.
the gates are staying up, right?
Right.
Again, so, let's get,
You're saying there's not enough weight.
right, so when you go soccer, lacrosse versus baseball, softball. Baseball, softball is a very, very minimal use on sod. Once the sod is grown and you've had a couple of months, you're good. So if you put it down, let's say in November, December, grass doesn't grow in the wintertime, only below the surface, it doesn't come up. By the spring, March, April, you're ready to play here. Your regular season, you're playing here for your regular baseball season.
Aren't the gates staying?
Because you don't have that aggressive soccer lacrosse use. You're not playing out here, this is closed.
No, the gates are staying up, right?
Well, it's staying up, the fencing's all staying up. We're not changing any of the fencing.
What's the cost if we were to switch the baseball fields? In other words, the way it's mapped up, in other words, can
So
we,
you have that.
because of lights, right? My concern is if we do lights, I don't think people want it where the Little League field is currently, right? Yeah, push it further out.
So this option is, option 6, is an option where you're creating a full-size baseball, softball field. The path has to move, that's why the path is a little bit darker. The path has to move. There is encroachment on the home run area for the big field into this area. I don't know how important your big games are, but I know there's not a lot of these. And this would create your major complex here versus here. It's an option, that's why we showed it.
But I don't know that we can afford that.
Well, you can't afford it with lights,
Right.
or you're short with lights. So with lights, yeah, with lights, you're too high.
We could start a fund.
Unless you put the non-LED lights up. So if you go with the non-LED lights, you probably can afford it, because they're only be
I mean, that's a good option too, back there, but let me ask you, the
About half the
Little League,
No, not the cost. What's the difference between the LED and the regular, as far as light?
230.
No, the light levels are,
Yeah.
light levels are the same, it's just half the cost. The light levels are equal, they're just as good, it's just half the cost.
They don't last as long either.
No, they're guaranteed for 25 years.
No.
No, it's all guaranteed for
And the
25 years.
non-LED don't last that long.
No, they do. They're both, the company that we utilize for lights, which is Musco, everybody uses, they guarantee both sets of lights for 25
But
years.
our
They'll fix them for you, everything.
Lower on the
The
LED.
electric bill's significantly lower LED.
Yeah. Plus the projection is also.
Significantly lower. It's like 30% of the cost of the other lights.
And the projection is different.
The projection so again, the LED allows almost a perfect line
Right.
cutoff. I can stand here, it'd be 0, I can
Like a
stand here, it'd be
spotlight.
30-foot candles. That's how good it is.
And the other is kind of spreads a
A
little.
little, just a little bit more, but it is definitely a little more.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
So Andy, what's the replacement time for the turf? Anyway, 10 years?
So the synthetic turf comes, all synthetic turfs, no matter who you use, comes with an 8-year warranty. I am currently, you probably read my name in the paper a little bit, we're replacing the field in Borough of Montvale. That field was put in 15 years ago, and now it's ready for replacement. So that was a very older generation of turf, not the newer stuff you see. I would baseline and say the turf is probably good for 15-plus years. Your batter's boxes and pitcher's mound will wear, you need some replacement in those areas, probably after 5-6 years. But it's minor, it's small. You'll have enough extra turf from the project that if you saved it, it would just be under routine maintenance every 4 or 5 years. You fix it. It's very simple to do.
Let me ask you the question, on this project here,
The softball one.
the softball.
Number 6?
Right. That comes with 2 mounds that they can change for Little League, because they have different mounds, right?
Well, under all the concepts, you're gonna have to purchase a mound. So you come with these portable mounds, which are great, they work really well, and they can be moved around. Somebody's not gonna steal them, but you can move them around.
Okay, so when you put the 4 lights in here, will that light up the basketball and the tennis
Nope.
courts too?
Nope, it's not designed only like the field.
Only like the field.
Unless you wanna add a light to the backside of the pole to light those areas. So
Yeah,
for instance,
you don't know.
there's a light pole close to the basketball court, you could add 2 lights back here. It's not that much, but there's a cost. Your infrastructure pulls there, so it heads, you
And
know.
you get the numbers on the lights, LED, and where you get the numbers from? Because you just got the bid for something like this.
Well, so the turf and the LED lights
Turf, I know.
come under state or co-op contracts, so you
Oh, they
can,
are.
so those numbers are pretty good. Besides that, we've bid or built enough of these in the last 2 years.
Okay.
The numbers are pretty darn good.
So, what are we looking at? Well, first of all, which one does everybody like? Let's see what everybody likes first.
I mean,
6. I like 6.
Well, everybody gets 1 vote, so you got
I
yours.
don't have a vote.
You don't have
Only
a
the mayor, I have a
vote.
vote.
What are you thinking? I mean, there's not too much difference.
The reason I like 6 is it's the most good for the most people.
Well, I do like putting it in the back with the lights too.
7.
7.
I mean, it's nice putting the lights in the back because you're pushing it all in the back too, keeping it away from...
I like 8.
Oh,
I vote
Not
for
convinced that...
yeah, I know, but that doesn't solve our problem, unfortunately. We've been there, done
I
that.
think I'm not sure the rest of it solves it either. I like 6 other than 8.
Well, this, well, 6 does for sure, you get the whole field out of it.
All correct.
I like eight, then.
6 you
You
get,
like 8?
And with lights, though.
So you're
Yeah.
no turf.
Yeah, with lights. Because, you know what, if we do this for 1 year, or a couple of years, and we have to resod it anyway, because majority of it is still natural turf, it doesn't work out then, what difference does it make that we tried for 2 years and it doesn't?
because she threw $1 million away, that's what.
We would still have to keep that anyway, because of the, we still have to put natural turf. It's only between 7 and 8, it's only this amount of turf, so what difference does it make then? If I'm not gonna go with 5 and 6?
infield is where you have the problem with water.
No, no,
Mark, you said 7?
I mean, I would go with 7 or 6,
What do you...
6 or 7. 8 doesn't solve
we need, I think we need lights.
We do need lights.
allow baseball season next year, probably.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Little League would be okay, because as I said, as long as your project started by November 1st, your grass would be able to be played for Little League play or outfield play by April 1st, as long as the weather, you know, it's grass, so that we have to have, if we have tons of rain, it's gonna be really wet, but,
It's a shame in 7 that, you could technically have 2 games going on at the same time.
And we could do 6 no lights, and then lights next year, right?
sure. You'd like, so the lighting, the reason I separated the lighting in the project, because the lights can go in any time. The lighting is not affected by the project, it's another option. You can put the lights in at any point you
Taking
want.
steps.
You know, the LED lights, a year ago, literally 1 year ago in 2016, the LED price was $700,000. In 1 year, it came down $300,000.
Right, the lights are becoming commodities.
Their LED lights are becoming such mainline now, I'd expect that price to go down pretty close to like the high twos, like the regular lights are within a year. That'd be my guess. It's coming, 3 years ago, LED lights were 1.5 million for one field.
Well, August is around the corner.
But no, we have to make a decision. I mean, we've been talking about this. So, you like 8, you
No,
like...
no.
You like 8. I wasn't pointing to you, I was pointing...
I'm 6 no lights.
Hey, what's
Lights come
what's
next
the
year.
cost of number 8?
Number 8, you have the estimate in front of you, the last page of the estimate. On number 8, to resod, re-irrigate, fix the various items, you're at $366,000.
$366,000 between 7 and 8.
$366,000
That's the total cost is for number 8?
for number 8, yes.
With no lights.
With no
No lights. This is number 8 with no lights.
I don't know, 279, 280. What do you have to put that down for? How much? No? 5%.
Under option 8,
5%, 280.
under option 8, if we talk about timeframes, because I know it's never timeframes, you have a good chance of opening this field in April. The infield will be the issue, you have to really evaluate the infield. You have a pretty good chance of opening the softball field, but the clay is always an issue on the softball field. And you're gonna have to close, I would close the rest, I would leave this closed until the fall. Most likely, we probably can get this open, but I wouldn't want to overuse it, so I'd want to keep it to your regular Little League games. I think, or limit the Little League games and try to play some softball, some Little League, and play a lot of away games. You're going to have a little functional problem with use, because the infields are going to be problems for you. At least till you get mature, until you get mature.
So what is happening with upper school? Is there anything happening?
I didn't get any answers back yet. And, I mean,
I mean, we should have a contingency plan in case something goes awry.
no, I know, but the thing is that, the rec director and all the other individuals that are, well, yeah, well, they need heaps of turf and lights to get the rain, to get the areas off. We're not listening to them, and then we're just spending money and not solving our problem. It's just, then you know.
You know, I could give you, I'll give you,
You know what I mean?
let me give you a little example. So we did, if you have Seton Hall Prep, they put a brand-new complex off of Northfield Avenue up in West Orange. If you get a chance, I recommend going to look at it. The complex has a synthetic turf football field, synthetic turf baseball field, a natural grass baseball field, a synthetic practice field for all uses, and somewhat of that smaller softball, baseball field, natural grass. The 2 grass fields that they play here are never used. They just cut the grass, maintain it, nobody wants to play on it. The synthetic turf fields are natural bounces, they work great. They're now engaging us to potentially take them out and not even have them anymore. The only reason they may leave one is because they play some away games on natural grass and they may use it to practice, but they spend about $2 million to construct a 90-foot natural grass baseball field. They used it 8 times last year. And their synthetic turf field, they used it 300 or 400 times. So the players, it's a really nice surface to play on.
Right. Andy, thank you very much.
I'll leave everything behind.
Yeah, we're going to have to go into closed session before our regular meeting, so let's try to wrap this up. Anybody else want to talk about anything else here?
Is that leave it here?
Well, I would like to make a motion when we move up there to vote on one of these, because...
Today?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Time and, you know,
No, I think it's a good idea.
We have to,
No, I
we
think
can't
we need to
be...
digest the information, we need to ask our professionals.
then you can vote no. I'm gonna make a motion to do something on it.
Okay.
That's fine.
We've been talking about this since 2010.
Let it all sink in. Andy, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a motion to go into closed session.
Read it. Second. Hold on.
No.
Let me read it, please.
Well, you gotta read the...
Resolution 17-123, whereas NJSA 10:4-12 permits a public body to go into closed session during a public meeting, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain items. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs will go into session for the following reasons as set forth in NJSA 10:4-12. Pending and anticipated litigation, attorney-client privilege. Number 1, Mura versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs and Chief Choppy, BREL 76-16, past, present, and future, and Lieutenant Scott Mura, disciplinary, personnel, internal affairs matters, past, present, and future. Number 3, M. McMorro versus Borough, and number 4, Favaro versus Borough. I need a motion, please. Yeah, but when I call you.
It's actually Favaro, Simon, and Geiger versus Borough.
Okay.
All right?
I need a motion to go into closed.
So moved.
That was O.
William, second. All in favor?
Wu. No, 'cause I need her, I need Carol to record. Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro? Right, say it. Okay. For the record.
Right.
And Park? Wu?
We're going to adjourn the caucus meeting now. Could I have
A motion, I didn't have a second before it.
Ed moved to come out of closed.
And now it's...
Alan seconded.
Great, thank you.
And could I have a motion to adjourn the caucus meeting?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?